OK, well, in 3 days' time, Oscar Pistorius is set to be released from prison this Friday, obviously, after serving 10 months of a 5-year sentence. Well, with me in the studio, we have a lawyer who's going to talk to us about that, about the custodial rules for prisoners who are assessed as non-dangerous. The Paralympic gold medalist admitted his model girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp, in February 2013 by firing 4 shots into the locked door of a toilet cubicle. He said that he believed an intruder had broken in, but prosecutors have filed an appeal against the verdict of culpable homicide, of course. They're saying that the athlete should have been convicted of murder because he knew someone was behind the toilet door when he fired and therefore had the intention to kill. His legal team now has 1 month in which to respond. Well, with me now is the Barrister Abigail Bache from Garden Court Chambers in London. Very good evening to you.
Good evening.
What kind of hoops do the prosecution team have to jump through to actually get a case going for premeditated murder?
Well, it's not, in fact, premeditated murder. That one initially was ruled out. There's, in fact, 3 different types of murder. So there's premeditated, which I think is called dolus directus. Dolus just means intent. Right. So dolus directus, dolus indirectus, that's just when you kill someone, you've tried to kill someone, but you've missed and killed someone else instead. And then the last one, which is the one that we're concerned with, that's dolus eventualis. Now, that is a bit more complicated. It is murder, and it does have an intent, but the intent is that you carry out an act that you think may well kill someone, but you don't really care if it does or not. So you don't have a specific intent to kill someone, but you are happy to act in a way that is very likely to kill someone. So for the most part of us, I would have thought shooting 4 times through a door when you think there's just someone behind it sounds very much like murder under the dolus eventualis Act, and that's probably why the prosecution are appealing it, and it's why a great deal of public opinion, I think, seems at the moment.
So is this Judge Masipa looking upon this and saying in a very subjective manner that she could not bring about the premeditated murder verdict?
No, she's basing it on the evidence. Remember, of course, it's not for the judge to decide whether or not there's evidence that it's premeditated. She has to decide whether the prosecution have proved so that there's no possibility that it could be anything other than premeditated murder. Now, in that particular case, the evidence, there was some evidence of previous aggression with a previous partner. There was some suggestion that there may have been arguments at the time, but there was really nothing that could go so far as to say you could prove that this was a pre-planned, premeditated murder.
And she accepted, the judge, she accepted that Riva Steenkamp, his version, that Riva Steenkamp was in the bedroom and that he stood there and fired 4 lethal shots into a door, thinking that it was an intruder and that he, Pistorius, was under attack.
She did accept that, yes. And now, what she has said, of course, is that his failure to check, his failure to call out and to see whether, in fact, Riva Steenkamp was in the bedroom was so bad that it falls within the criminal definition of culpable homicide. So that's why he was convicted of culpable homicide, because he was negligent to act the way he did, to simply fire without checking first where she was, and that he is guilty of. And, of course, we know he's been sentenced for that. But this question of dolus eventualis is really the main meat of the appeal, if I can put it that way, is really whether or not the prosecution say, well, it doesn't matter whether he thought it was Riva or an intruder behind the door, because for dolus eventualis, it doesn't matter who you think you might kill. The fact is, firing 4 times at a closed door means you're likely to kill someone. Now, if it was anyone other than an intruder, that would be right. But what the prosecution, I think, have probably missed is this key point that the judge has decided, if it was an intruder, that he would be acting lawfully, effectively in self-defence. And that means he couldn't have intended to unlawfully kill someone.
Which is extremely important in this case. And therefore, I mean, you were telling me about this a bit earlier, and it struck me that the prosecutors are going to have an almost impossible task, at least on the face of it.
I think so. I mean, that there are other elements to their appeal. There's some slightly more complex appeal points with regards to the ammunition, the firearm possessions, but that central point as to whether or not there was evidence there or that the judge got the law wrong on the evidence that this should have been dolus eventualis, I think they're going to struggle with a great deal.
And where does double jeopardy come into in all this? I was reading up on the South African Constitution today, and they were saying that double jeopardy exists there. But in this particular case, is it irrelevant? Or?
It's not irrelevant. It won't be the basis of any appeal. They won't be asking to try the facts again. Double jeopardy, as I'm sure we all know, is effectively the idea that you can't retry someone who's already either been convicted or acquitted of an offence. You can't keep raking over the same old facts again and again. And it's important to remember that on an appeal, the prosecution can't suggest that the judge has got any of the facts wrong. So even though it seems very odd that she reached the conclusion that Oscar Pistorius, in fact, didn't intend to kill anyone, intruder or not, by shooting 4 times at the door, they won't be able to appeal that because it's a factual ruling. But on the points of law, it's not a question of trying him again. Because you're quite right that it's the Bill of Rights that says that can't happen. It's a question of whether, in fact, the law has been applied wrongly to the facts that have already been decided.
Thank you very much indeed for that insight, Abigail Bache. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
OK, let's take you on to this now. 5 albino Tanzanians, the victims of witchcraft there, are building new lives thanks to a medical charity in the United States. It's all down to one woman who runs the aid program from her own home. Well, David Martin has this report for us.
5-year-old Baraka loves to dance. When his feet begin to move, a smile comes across his face. But young Baraka's smile hides a terrible pain.
I was terrified. That's why I started to cry.
In Baraka's home country of Tanzania and other parts of East Africa, attacks on albinos have spiked this year, forcing many to live in safe houses. Witch doctors believe their body parts are good luck and use them to make potions. While the government has banned witch doctors, it hasn't stopped the butchering and killing.
They cut off the hand. Others, none of them were hacked. And then my mom, they hit her in the head, and they came to me with machetes.
8,000 miles away, Alyssa Montanti heard Baraka's story.
I just knew that I had to get to him and offer whatever we can, whatever kind of help we could, to this boy.
Montanti runs the Global Medical Relief Fund out of her New York home. She helps children from crisis zones all over the world get custom prostheses in the U.S., which is how Baraka and 4 other Tanzanian children made it to the U.S. this summer. It took 3 hacks for attackers to cut off 17-year-old Kabula's right arm.
I feel bad because I still don't know what they did with my arm, where it is, what benefits they derived from it, or whether they were able to somehow use it or if they simply dumped it.
Philadelphia Shriners Hospital is making the custom prosthesis for each child, and they'll be back as they grow up to get new ones.
They're not getting their arm back, but what they are getting is something that's going to help them lead a productive life and to be part of society and not be looked upon that, you know, they're a freak or they're not whole.
Once they get their new limbs, the children will return to a safe house in Tanzania. Until then, Montanti and the children are keeping busy. Their first trip to a swimming pool, birthday parties, and of course, for little Baraka, dancing.
No, I'm not.
David Martin,
No, I'm not.
And coming up on The World, all the business news. Stay with us.
There is a place the whole world is talking about. A place where big things are happening. A place that is providing the unexpected. A place that is optimistic and vibrant.
Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Good morning.
Hello, nice to meet you.
A place where the old traditions live happily alongside the new.
Are you well?
Welcome.
This process here is state of the art.
It's just
A place that is achieving the impossible.
that's what we can do.
First time in Africa, sir?
Yes, it is. But it certainly won't be my last.
Welcome to the bank that has empowered the people of Africa to achieve a great many things. Welcome to the bank that believes that even greater opportunities and partnerships lie ahead. Welcome to Guarantee Trust Bank. Wouldn't you rather bank with us?